I want to take you somewhere today. But before that, I want to start with a simple question. Let's chat for a little bit. Why do you go to school? Is it because you want to pursue a better form of life? Why do we communicate with each other? Why do we interact with each other? Why do we social? Do we have to social? Why do we form a community? Then I want to kick it up a notch and ask you to imagine how our ancestors, I'm talking about the early human beings, the early Homo sapiens, how would they live their lives? How do they pursue a better form of living? Where would they live? Where would they find shelter? This is before, way before, right? People know how to build houses. People know, this is way before we know how to build anything. This is way before the writing system, any form of writing system came along. So, with the limited resources, how can people pursue a better form of life? So, I want to take you somewhere today because I found traces of early human being. And let's go on the tour and maybe we can always come back to one question, right? How do they pursue a better form of life? And maybe at the end of the lecture, you might find that this rudimentary question, right? How do we live our lives, pursue our lives? Our weight of pursuing that type of life might not be so different from our ancestors. So let's go. This is of the world, of the majority of the world, with Asia being somewhere right here, United States across the ocean, Pacific Ocean, somewhere right here, Africa here. And I want to take you on a tour to this part of Asia, to actually this part of Asia, to Indonesia. And the southern part of Indonesia, there is a island called Sulawesi, and to the even southern part of the Sulawesi, we found a place like this. I want you to take a look at this place, the characteristics of this place, because this is where we found those traces of early human beings, the Homo sapiens. This place called the Leang Tedongnge, wide area, open area, plain field, because we want to kind of get an idea of our ancestors, how they where they would like to pick their place to live. Open area right here, not too tall, but some kind of hilly sides at the back. Some vegetation dotting the place, right? If we go further, right? So because the place that they pick must be somewhere they consider to be safe or safer than other places, and this, right? So we suppose this is open area with some kind of obstacle, right? Blocking or surrounding themselves. This is where they would consider to be safe place to settle. Then we found these holes, and when we enter these holes, right? This is a karst hills, right? By the way, the rocks are formed. We get in there. That's where we found some human traces, wall paintings in the cave, supposed to be where they live or where they do some kind of activities, even if this is not where they live. They live close by. Cave painting, get a closer zooming in into one of them. One of them kind of more complete, comprehensive one. It's a pig. A depiction, a painting of a pig. What do you see? Pay attention. We actually, right, also see the shadow of the hands. We have a pig, a wild pig, a hog, or a suit, however you want to call it. Some kind of texture, right? The artist is able to present some kind of texture of the pig so that, it shows its fur and capturing some salient characteristics of the hog, of this pig. Protruding, right? Some kind of eyelashes protruding, and then the shape of the mouth right here. Those are the characters that's unique to a pig, right? And so the artist is able to capture all those things, right? Not able to capture all the details, but all the things, but all the unique characteristics, right? Smart, I think, right? Because that's how you wanna. That's the most important thing you want to capture for our ancestors. And we see now we can start to describe this picture right here. Why do we describe it? First of all, describing is a very important skill, very fundamental skill in art history, because the way to learn to get to extract information from any kind of anything visual is start from describing it. Let me get started. This is a figurative animal painting, and we see it's a single color, kind of. We have some red, maybe a little bit of purple, but we believe it's from very similar pigments that's sourced in the area around, right? They are not able to source further away. And it's a static pose. It's a static position, not capturing, not painting this pig in movement, like when it's running and anything, but just standing, static position. And it's depicting 4 legs, not overlapping, and this is important because in the naturalistic world, the way we see things, rarely we were able to see all 4 legs not overlapping at all, right? Because the ones in the front is very likely to obstruct the one in the back, right? So if we were to represent it in a naturalistic way, it would be some kind of overlap, like the way I drew it, right? Like this, right? But so this is not naturalistic. This is not the pictures. This is not the pig that we would see in realistic life. But this is a composite way. This is a very comprehensive way of representing a pig, because a pig has 4 legs, so that you would know, right? So that from one picture, although it's not how we would see it with our naked eyes, but our ancestors, these people, these artists, they want to put the most information onto the picture as possible, regardless the naturalistic representation of the subject matter. So this is not naturalistic. Okay. Maybe we can come back to the hands a little in a little bit, because we want to get a situation, get a sense of a bigger picture, because it's not just one pig. It's one pig watching maybe 1, 2, 3 other pigs interacting with each other. That's how scholars, archaeologists would interpret it, would guess. So this is representing not just this makes it up a level, right? Because it's not just representing one animal, showing that, I know this animal, I understand this animal, but no, our ancestors trying to understand a bigger story. A bigger story of a pig observing a fight or a social interaction between 2 or 3 other pigs. Interesting, right? So our ancestors right, this is before writing came along. This is before our ancestors were able to build anything. They started to understand the world. What do you think that the artists or the early human beings trying to, with these pictures, trying to understand, trying to comprehend, trying to represent? Okay, so hands, right? I want to convince you the painting of the hands in early human being, early civilizations, it's kind of common across the world. This is from Argentina. This is a cave found in Argentina. We see the hands, and again, back to this one. This is a cave painting from Indonesia, and we saw the hands as well. And well, first of all, through the what we call the U system, the uranium system dating, we know this picture is from about 43 or about 45,000 years ago. And we kind of get a sense, we kind of understand that the way they produce the hand shadows is through blowing, using a tube, right? Imagine we have a tube, right? And then the artist would put the pigments in the tube, right? And then use the mouth, right, to blow the air into through the tube, and then the pigment would land, right? And then you put a hand against the wall in the cave, and then the pigment would land all around the hand, and that's how they produce, that's how they create the shadow of the hand, we believe. So what's the use of knowing this? Think about it. You know what? Archaeologists, because they knew this is the way they create the art, they were actually able to sample these areas, right? Sample some of the particles from this painting and study the salivas, because they believe the residue of the salivas, because they believe as the early human being, when they're blowing through, some particles of the salivas landed in this area. And we have the saliva, then we have the DNA of these early people, and we have the DNA. We can know a lot of things about their behavior, the digestive system, a lot of things. We reconstruct how they look like, just with knowing the way they create this shadow of the hands. Okay, one last thing is, what does that mean? You know, I know that the hands is there, right? This is hands belongs to human being. This is the animal. So human and animal, what are the hands and the animals are suggesting? What kind of interaction or connections that this early human being are trying to create or trying to record down? Again, before writing, before they can write, before they have a very systematic language system. Again, prehistoric art is a guessing game because we have any writing documents to attest to any of our guesses. So feel free to guess what this image is trying to tell us, what kind of story this is trying to tell us. And again, in early cave paintings, in this prehistoric early paintings, we a lot of the time we see the animals, and we don't know for sure why they draw all these animals on the wall in the cave, and hands on the cave. What's the connection? We don't know. You see, this is a cave from France, Chevet Cave, another one of the earliest cave paintings. Bison, right here. Bisons, cow, wild animals. This is before early humans were able to domesticate any kinds of animal. They're still living in a hunter and gatherer situation. How do they live their life? Can you guess?